Minor Jeff Pritchard. Gilbody in the white vest and white boots. Gilbody from Liverpool. Pritchard from the new Tredegar club. The Welsh champion in the dark strip against the Northern Counties champion. Gilbody's face screwed up as it normally is, in a sort of picture of concentration and effort. Pritchard's mouth looking a little bit worse for wear. Gilbody moving in and out fast, probing with that left hand, trying to flick the punches in quickly, then get away before Pritchard can counter. The sheer speed of Gilbody's punching. Oops, threw his man over. That's Gilbody, the offender. Gilbody's speed of punch is confusing Pritchard here. Gilbody now adopting this technique of 1, 2, 3 quick punches in and then away before the Welshman can counter. Stood for one right hand there that nearly took the gum shield out of his mouth. And once again he throws his man, fed up with Pritchard hanging on. Second caution about that. So this is 2 rounds now, clearly, that Gilbody has taken from Pritchard, which leaves the Welshman with an awful lot to do if he's going to win this. Holding, Pritchard, and a public warning for holding. And this is what the throwing down was all about, Gilbody trying to get rid of him. And so Pritchard picks up a public warning for holding. So it's not a very happy night for 19-year-old Welsh miner Jeff Pritchard, who's been given a little bit of a boxing lesson and has also had a public warning for holding, which is surely going to count against him on the judges' cards. So Gilbody, the boy from the Northern Counties, from Liverpool, wearing the white vest and the white boots, goes into the last round now with a clear lead over the Welsh miner Jeff Pritchard, who's not had a very happy time of it at all. Public warning Pritchard had in the second round for holding. Been thrown to the floor twice by Gilbody. And the Northerner trying to get rid of him. And Gilbody, I must say, looking much sharper tonight than he did in the ABA semi-finals a couple of weeks ago, or indeed in the English semi-finals at Hull about a month ago. Looking really trained to perfection tonight, Gilbody, and adopting this technique. Quick, snappy punching, moving into range, putting a few punches together, and then getting a way out of it before Pritchard can do much about it, and using all the ring. Gilbody set fair now to add a senior title to the ABA Junior Championship he won in 1971. What has Pritchard got left? A big effort from the Welsh miner. Gilbody hasn't quite kept charge of this last round as he did the first two, possibly tiring a little. But he still seems to me to have a fair lead. And on his way to winning this title, which in the past has been won by Ken Buchanan and Dave Charnley, and way back by Harry Misler and Benny Kaplan. Pritchard's made a fair last round of this. He had to do something. He was well behind, and he's made a big effort, but it surely can't be enough. Plus the fact he got a public warning in the second round must go against him. That's a stumble. And I think he's the more tired of the two now, the Welshman in the dark strip. But a good effort by Pritchard in this last round. And in fact, if it was going another round, then Gilbody might not be too happy, because Gilbody looks very tired. In fact, I thought he was fresher than that, but he tired suddenly at the end. But nonetheless, the first two rounds ought to have put him clear for the ABA title.
Ladies and gentlemen, by majority decision, the winner, an Amateur Boxing Association featherweight champion for 1974, Gilbody.
George Gilbody puts Liverpool one up. So the man from the Northern Counties, who'd been tipped all season as a likely champion, has made it, and maybe that's an omen for Liverpool tomorrow. Lightweight George Gilbody from Liverpool is the most controversial selection in this Great Britain side. Memories of a recent knockout hang over him. As far as Montreal's concerned, it's certainly make or break for George tonight against the 17-year-old Tommy Hearns. Well, you can bet that when George Gilbody first set eyes on his opponent tonight, he got a bit of a shock, because this man is so tall. He really is well over 6 feet tall, probably about 6'2" or 6'3", and he's the tallest lightweight I've ever seen. Tommy Hearns of the United States, who looks like a refugee from the Harlem Globetrotters. We've had two rounds, fairly inconsequential stuff, and now Gilbody has got a cut at the start of the third and final round on his right eye, and that is a rather nasty-looking cut, and that could well be the end of Gilbody's participation in this one, I would have thought. It's in a nasty place over the right eye. He's had trouble with eyes before, but usually the left eye. Kevin Hickey just cleaning it up a bit so Mr. Pollard can have a better look. And the doctor's also coming in to have a look. Taking a very quick look and says, all right, he can go on. And that might, amazingly, mean a Montreal place for Gilbody if he can put in a good win now. And Gilbody now will be looking for a win. If he'd been turfed out then by the doctor, that might have meant the end of all Montreal dreams. And now there's still a chance he could go. The eye's bleeding again. Tommy Hearns of the United States, George Gilbody of Liverpool. Gilbody giving away inches, 6 inches it must be in height, and an awful lot of reach. Tommy Hearns, only 17 years old. United States national champion. And Gilbody battling to get past those long arms. where he can do something useful. One public warning for holding and another caution picked up in this round. It's very close, this one. Wasn't much between them on the first two rounds. Last 30 seconds. Closing seconds. They're in the extra time now for the, while they looked at the injury. Tidy mauling now, but Gilbody still trying to get to Canada. A lot of time been added on for that stoppage. Coming up to 4 minutes now. 3 3/4 minutes. Well, what a battle that was between Gilbody of Liverpool and Tommy Hearns, the immensely tall United States champion. And I wonder whether that little reprieve that Gilbody got from the doctor, and he was allowed to continue with that cut, I wonder if that might just mean that he could go to Montreal.
Your Grace, my Lord, ladies and gentlemen, by a majority decision, the winner, Helens
of America, has got it. The 17-year-old American champion gets the decision over George Gilbody. Man is a southpaw and a Scottish Highlander. So this 17-year-old Scotsman, Alan Mann, wearing the Cameron tartan on his trunks, has got a lot to do now if he wants to win this. The experience of Gilbody, slowly but surely telling. Mr. Barry, the Welsh referee, just quietening him down slightly. So George Gilbody in white from Lancashire, looking as though he's on his way to a second ABA title. Man was he brought his own piper to the ring with him in Manchester when he fought in the semi-finals, but must have left him at home this time. Has got to mount some attacks now if he wants to win this. My word, didn't Gilbody pick him off there? Oh. It's a great problem for Mann now because when he does try to open up, he leaves himself open for the counter punches. Lacks experience. But at 17, he's got plenty of time to come again, and no doubt he will. Caution there for a man who was doing a bit of holding and getting his shoulder in. I think Gilbody's got a little bit of trouble with his right eye, but it's come in the last 30 seconds of this contest, so it's unlikely to hamper him now, but it might have been nasty if it had happened earlier. Well,
smear of blood?
I don't know. Maybe it's... I don't think it's a cut. Fairly clear-cut to me. George Gilbody of England had the skills and the experience to handle that, and the young Scottish Highlander Alan Mann, well, a little bit out of his depth there, but as I said, he's got plenty of time to come again.
Ladies and gentlemen, by a majority decision, the winner and ABA lightweight champion for 1977, Gilbody in the red corner.
George Gilbody is the champion, but one judge voted against him. How about that? But Gilbody comes through, so 3 years ago he won the featherweight title, and now he takes the lightweight. Now, the question in this lightweight final is, can George Gilbody of the St Helens Club make it a family double? His brother Ray has already won the flyweight final tonight, and if Gilbody can beat Mickey O'Sullivan of London, then it's a unique family double. No two brothers have ever won titles on the same night in the ABA finals.
Second round.
Familiar face of George Gilbody. Gilbody all in white and facing Mickey O'Sullivan all in black. Southpaw O'Sullivan. A fairly indecisive opening round with some little bit of holding and some careless head work from O'Sullivan, and nothing much between them. Gilbody, of course, one of the most famous amateur boxers in Britain. Already been an ABA champion twice, seeking his third title tonight. He was featherweight champion in 74, lightweight champion in 77, and it's the lightweight title he's going for again tonight. O'Sullivan is a very awkward customer. Unorthodox style. One low one from O'Sullivan. Got a caution for the head, a caution for holding, and now a caution for a low one. Not much left. O'Sullivan short, smothered in badges at the front and tucked away among them a small shamrock. Good right. It's not been a good championships for London. Only two finalists, and O'Sullivan is one of them. O'Sullivan is committing all sorts of minor misdemeanors. And George, who always frowns through a contest, is frowning even more because of it. So long, twice ABA champion, and seen him so many times boxing for England here and abroad, and yet he's still only 24. One of the great pillars of amateur boxing today. He's having to work for every point here. Once they get into close quarters, O'Sullivan is all arms. Ties him up. doing enough to keep himself in front. Sort of tangle they get into. Oh, what a good right from Gilbody. He's got him right on the bell. Oh, right on the bell. And the count was about to continue, but O'Sullivan decided to get up. And that was done with a beautiful right hand that was thrown on the bell by Gilbody. So, there was a sudden dramatic change of fortunes there. Here we are, the closing seconds, and there it was, just as the bell went. So that little short right came pumping in to O'Sullivan's head. And that puts Gilbody very much in command as we come out for the last 3 minutes.
Third and last round.
Now we'll see just how well O'Sullivan has recovered from that jolting right hand that put him down at the end of the second. Gilbody all in white, going now for this tremendous family double. Ray Gilbody, his younger brother, has already won the flyweight championship, the 8-stone title tonight. And here is elder brother George, going for the 9-stone 7 championship. That's the lightweight division, and it'll be the first time any brothers have ever achieved that in one night at the ABA finals. And Gilbody now sensing that he might be able to finish this inside the distance. Keeping the pressure on. Always a thoroughly fit man. Recently became the proud father of a baby son, born at the end of March, George Jr. Gilbody has done it all in amateur boxing. National schoolboy champion twice, ABA junior champion, already won 2 ABA senior titles, and now on his way to a 3rd. And I suspect next year we shall be seeing him in the Olympic squad. Works as an assistant manager at a leisure centre near Wigan. In the closing minute now. And not all, none of O'Sullivan's cagey tactics, his awkward style, and a little bit of holding he's done, none of it has really paid any dividends. Gilbody's superior experience and craft has come through it all. And it looks as though O'Sullivan is going down to defeat here on points. And Gilbody is going to pick up his 3rd ABA title. And there it is. And that looks very much as though George Gilbody has pulled it off, and that the Gilbody brothers have pulled it off in these first ever sponsored ABA championships, sponsored tonight by Twinlock.
The ABA lightweight champion for 1979 by a unanimous decision, Gilbody in the ring corner.
All 3 judges proclaim him the winner. What a night it is for the Gilbody family. George is champion, younger brother Ray is champion, a unique double, and it's George's 3rd ABA championship against Jimmy.
Which direction, to punch with either hand, to be unpredictable, to have that little bit of flair. His judgment of distance is excellent, variety of skills and speed of hand. So I think probably he's experience-wise the number 1 in the team, I should think. and in terms of ability, I think it would take a very good one to beat him. Ray Gilbody is like George in many ways. He's a real competitor. Temperament is ideal. Experience not quite up to George's level, but speed of punch and his reading of his opponent and determination are tremendous. He would walk through a brick wall if necessary to get his medal. And I think that perhaps the biggest incentive for Ray could be if he sees George doing well, then he'll find that little bit of extra drive when it comes to producing the medal form which he's capable of.
George, how many times is this the two of you have boxed together on a trip like this?
This will be the third time now. We went to Greece June last year, where we both won gold medals in a multi-nation tournament. And just before Christmas, went to Kenya, and we had 2 fights over there.
Although you've been around for a good while, this is your first Olympics too, isn't it?
It is, yeah, I just missed out last time, so this is my first one.
Yeah. What's it like boxing away with your brother then, Ray?
Oh, it's great really. I suppose a little bit nervous about him sometimes. I always have nervous feelings for him when he's boxing now.
You get more nervous perhaps for him than you do for yourself?
Yeah, most of the time, yeah.
Now what about the draw that you've had, George? How do you feel about that? Because you're both boxing unknown quantities really in a sense, aren't you?
Well, I got the Zambian. I could have had 5 fights, but as I happened I got a bye. And so I've got a Zambian. I don't fight for another 5 or 6 days yet. And the Zambian, I believe, is a fair opponent. It's pretty good, although we don't know much about him really. And if I win that, I'm due to fight the chap who won the silver medal at featherweight in the last Olympics, which is the East German, I think. And so I've got a couple of hard fights before I get the medal.
Yeah, before you get the medal, you're that confident?
I hope so.
Ray, what about you? You've got a man from Angola. Now, we don't know much about their boxers, do we?
No, not at all. It's been a dark horse, really, and just looking forward to it, really, now.
Well, the Spinks brothers did it for America last time. What about the Gilbodys this time?
Yeah, well, I hope so. We feel confident. We're fit as we've ever been, fitter than we've ever been. And we know the draw now. We know what we've got to go for, so we're just going to aim ourselves.
So George Gilbody of Great Britain, who had a bye through to the last 16, comes up for the first time at lightweight and tries for a place in the last 8 against the Zambian Blackson Sukoko. Gilbody, who's been England's #1 amateur for many years now, has never boxed in the Olympic Games before. He's 25 years old, boxes for the St Helens Star Amateur Boxing Club, and comes from Daresbury near Warrington. And he carries a lot of Britain's medal hopes in these Olympic Games. 4 times ABA champion. And here, of course, with his brother, Ray Gilbody, who's already won his way through in his first bout. And Gilbody going straight into beautiful action with the left hand into the face of Sukoko. Many years ago, George won a bronze medal in the European Under-21 Championships, but that was 6 years ago. He's boxed in the Europeans, got to the quarterfinals. He boxed in the 1978 Commonwealth Games in Canada, got to the quarterfinals there, and was beaten with a cut left eye. And that was the last time he lost. Gilbody has not been beaten since the Commonwealth Games of 1978. He's got the reach on Sukoko, and he most certainly has the experience. Gilbody's had quite a long wait before making his first appearance in the ring here. These championships started last Sunday. This is day 6. George making his familiar grunt as he punches away, pushing the Zambian's head back with accurate placed left hands. And getting a very appreciative clap for his skill too from this audience. Gilbody covering a lot of ring. Well, that's clearly George's first round. Nobody could argue about that. But that's a good start by the 25-year-old Briton. George's form really has been remarkable. This is Sukoko of Zambia, who is a bit of a mystery man. He wasn't on the original Zambian team list, so we don't know too much about him. But George clearly, from this opening round and this action, has the edge in skill. That left hand has found its way consistently into Sukoko's face. So George Gilbody of Great Britain has made a fine start in the opening round against Blackson Sukoko of Zambia. Zambian hardly laid a glove on him in the first round. Gilbody again covering every bit of the ring. One of George's problems, of course, in competition has been the tendency to cut, but this time the injury, such as it is sustained by Sukoko with a little bit of a nosebleed. And all that is due to Gilbody's left hand. Gilbody is the 5th British boxer of the 9 to box. They've all come through so far. And Sukoko got a left hand in there. First decent punch he's landed. Gilbody keeping control of this with the left hand. Boxing well within himself too. Just a quick thrust with the left and then away. Another one. Good right. There'll be some interested observers from the Eastern European countries of Gilbody's form here, because clearly he's regarded by everyone here as a definite medal prospect. He's left himself open to a couple of punches there from Sukoko. A little bit careless, got caught on the ropes and didn't move. And he mustn't let Sukoko get confident. And remembering George's vulnerability around the eyes, he doesn't want too many tangles close in. Looks as though Sukoko's nose is bleeding a bit again. Well, no, he did get careless and he left himself open, just as he did on the other side of the ring against the ropes. The same place again this side. A standing count, and that's done George's chances no good whatever. Right on time here. There's the buzzer to end the second round. That was sheer carelessness by Gilbody, who'd been using the ring well, and then got himself trapped on the ropes, and Sukoko saw his chance and slung a few punches in, and they told. Now then, Kevin Hick is having a real word with Gilbody. Let's listen.
All times if necessary, keep it short. Now let's see you moving back a little bit now. Don't move on. You listening? You with me? Okay, nice and short. Think about what you're doing. Off the rope. In the centre, the little George, the young George.
Well, you heard all that as well as I did. It's the left hand and keep off the ropes. Couldn't be wiser. Right, let's see if George can do it. It's his first contest. He should be very fresh. There should be plenty of strength there to get through 3 rounds. No problem. And he's really got to get back in control of this now. He won the first round. And he may not have won the second. That's the way. One low one. Jab and move. That's the ticket. And keep it going now for the full 3 minutes. Did it all right in the first round, then went to sleep in the second. He's got caught again, going back towards the ropes, precisely the place he doesn't want to be. This is extraordinary. It's almost as though he suddenly goes into a little dream and forgets and stands still by the ropes and waits to be caught, and Sukoko catches him. Now it is desperate for George now if he wants to win this. He really has got to work. 2 standing counts. Why he doesn't keep out in the center of the ring, I don't know. Must have room to work and move back. Caught again, right hand. He's got real problems now, George. Contest that seemed to be absolutely made for him has turned dead against him. It's been wide open to the right hand of the Zambian. We're inside 50 seconds to go now. And George needs to work well at the finish here, because it could well be close. He might just be behind now, but he could still swing it with a good finish. Gilbody could be the first Briton to go out of the Olympic boxing in his first Olympics. One of Britain's main hopes, and now trying desperately to cling on to his place. Well, he's not made a bad finish. In fact, he's made a good finish. And it's up to the 5 judges now from Nigeria, Tanzania, France, East Germany and Taipei. And it could be a desperately close thing. 2 standing counts against him. On the other hand, he took control of the bout at many stages with the left hand. The judges' slips are in the hands now of the announcer. What a tense moment for Gilbody and all of us. He made it. George Gilbody has made it. And Gilbody is through to the last 8 of the lightweights. Not to everybody's approval in this arena, I must say. But he made it by taking control of the bout, surely towards the finish. It must have... Gilbody of Great Britain in his quarter-final first round against Richard Novakovsky of East Germany. Gilbody, one of 5 Britons who've won their way through to the quarter-finals of these Olympic boxing championships. Very, very successful team indeed. 5 out of 9 through to the quarter-finals. Gilbody, though, has got a big task here against this East German. Novakovsky won a silver medal in Montreal, not at this weight, but one weight down at featherweight. And he won a gold medal at featherweight in the European Championships 3 years ago. So a man of considerable experience and considerable success. Novakovsky, 24, just a year younger than Gilbody, who comes, of course, from the St. Helens Star Amateur Boxing Club. A Lancashire lad. His brother Ray, who was also in these Olympic Championships, has already been put out of the competition in his weight. Now can George get through to the semi-finals and a medal? Gilbody, of course, has been boxing at international level for many, many years, way back in his young England days, back to 73. But he's never met Novakovsky. Gilbody hasn't lost a contest since the Commonwealth Games in Edmonton, Alberta in 1978, when a Kenyan beat him. So he's had a long run of continued success, Gilbody, but now really being put to the test. Well, Gilbody's got a public warning in the first round there, proclaiming his man, and that's a little unfortunate. He can do without that. It's hard enough without having marks deducted. And Gilbody won't want too much head rubbing inside because he's notoriously vulnerable to cuts. In fact, that contest he lost in the Commonwealth Games was due to an eye injury. Gilbody, of course, has won 4 ABA titles since 1974. And he was a European under-21 bronze medalist in 74 at featherweight. Just a stumble. Gilbody's left, doing some quite effective work. Getting picked off himself as he comes in by left hands. Nothing much in it. Fairly level first round from a boxing point of view, but just that unfortunate public warning which might go against Gilbody. Well, that wasn't a bad start by George if it hadn't been for that warning. Gilbody, now 25 years old, comes from Daresbury near Warrington, married, of course, with a young son, about 80 months old. I think we can hear what Kevin Hickey, the trainer, is saying to George.
Nice and tight, get the feet there. Deep breaths. 3 minutes gone. Up you work, please. Put them together and moving back in. Okay, come on.
Last round then, and Gilbody's great chance here of a place in the semi-final and a certain Olympic medal. George Gilbody from Lancashire, winner of numerous gold medals in multi-nation tournaments. 2 experienced men and having a very, very close encounter. There was one spell in the second round when Novakovsky got a little bit on top, but then Gilbody came back towards the end of the round, and it's been like that all the way. Very close. Good left. If he can keep doing that in this round, he'll get the decision. He really has nullified most of Novakovsky's work. Novakovsky's had few chances to really score. Terrible crack of heads. Nowakowski hit with the right, and George followed on, and his head went right into the face of the East German. Really is a very, very hard encounter, and Nowakowski is cut. Now that could well be the result of that very hard crack of heads. There's 1 minute and 48 seconds to go. It looks as though it's underneath the left eye. Oh, it's on the nose, that's where it is. Right on the bridge of the nose. And a rather nasty looking cut at that. Right across the bridge of the nose. He's all right, he can continue. 1 minute 48 to go. Nowakowski cut across the nose. That was undoubtedly caused by the head. No other way. And again, the heads come together. The two locked in battle. The medal dangling before the pair of them. A real old hard maul, this one, between two experienced men who are giving nothing away to each other. Not an easy contest to score, by the way. Judges will have a little problem with this. Head again to Gilbody. You get a public warning if that happens again, and that'll cost him points. I don't think I've ever seen Gilbody in quite such a tangle as this before. And the cut is a little worse on the nose of Nowakowski. 56 seconds to go. No doctor this time. A furious Anglo-German match. 40 seconds to go. Nowakowski told off about the shoulder. Another look at the nose. Just keeps wiping the blood away to see how bad the injury is. This is going to be really close. And Gilbody is in with a real chance of winning it. Well, Gilbody has got the public warning for the head. Now, I feared of that. That could be absolutely vital now. If the judges are in two minds about it, that could turn it in Nowakowski's favour. What an astonishing maul it is. It's one of the roughest encounters we've seen. It's all over, and George gives a little bow to his German opponent. That a really hard tussle. Two experienced men who knew that they couldn't afford to let the other really get on top and box, and that's why they kept running into the tangles and the clinches. Unfortunately, Gilbody has picked up two public warnings, one in the first round and one in the last. And I think he's also got a very slight graze somewhere near the right eye. Well, we'll have to see what the judges make of it, and they come from Spain, Austria, Venezuela, Tanzania, and South Korea. I don't think there's a spectator in this arena who's quite sure which way this will go. Nowakowski has got it, and I would think undoubtedly the two public warnings told against Gilbody there, and so Nowakowski goes through to the semi-final, and George Gilbody, who hoped that his first Olympics would bring him a medal, is disappointed, and in fact all 5 judges have voted for Nowakowski, and that's the end of both the Gilbody brothers in their attempt to win medals at these.
Just amongst the action and to fight like I've never fought before.
When you came out here first, did you have any idea in your mind that perhaps the 800 would be the better event for you to win, or the other way around?
The 800 metres and I prepared for both the 8 and the 1500 metres. I didn't really look at one or the other as the one that was going to be the easier or the better one. I enjoy running 800 metres, so I suppose in a way that in itself is a disappointment. But you know, I like to feel that I have as good a chance in the 15.
Just tell me, you know, do you think of it now in terms of a gold medal for 1500? Is that absolutely the thing you feel you're going to do?
Yes, I have to. I mean, as every other athlete in that race has to feel that you know, if you don't feel, then it isn't possible. I mean, there's I can't remember the name of the guy, but an American coach said if you didn't win, you didn't want it badly enough. And you know, in a way, there's something in that. I have to want it, and I have to feel that I can do it.
Can you give me a rundown on the people you think are going to be the most difficult people to beat?
Obviously, Steve's going to be in there with a good shout. Jürgen Straub, the East German, is very highly ranked and a very accomplished runner. There's Andres Buser, who has performed well at 800 metres. He'll be there, another East German. It'll be a very good field, a couple of very, very talented runners.
The youngster who could stop him is 18-year-old John Samuels, a surprise finalist from Wales. Samuels from Newport, only 18 years old. Gilbody clad in the white of England. 26 years old now, George, from the St Helens Star Club, and currently the most experienced amateur in England, in the whole of Britain, in fact. Attempting tonight to win this 5th ABA title. He started winning ABA titles back in 1974. Only 2 men since the Second World War have won 5. One was the great Scottish champion, Dick McTaggart. Slip. And the other was the Londoner Terry Waller, more recently. George a little bit out in front on the first round, just planting punches in fairly easily and confidently, while young Samuels attacked him. Samuels had a good win in the Welsh Championships, quite unexpectedly beating Effion Pritchard, who'd won that Welsh title 4 times. So Samuels was the surprise winner of the Welsh title, and then surprised people even more by beating Tony Connolly, the London champion, in the semi-finals in Manchester. And now here he is in the final against wily George Gilbody, 26 years old, who knows it all and has done it all. Not too many people in the history of these championships, which have been going for 101 years, not too many people have won 5 titles. A remarkable achievement if George pulls it off tonight. Brother Ray, of course, who was also a champion last year, was put out by Peter Jones in the semi-finals at bantamweight. The last 2 years, George and Ray had both won titles in these finals. Samuels is not proving to be anybody's pushover. Young, eager, aggressive. It's big night, and any amount of glory if he could beat the famous George. George blowing a little bit. In his semi-final, the young Welsh champion ran out of steam a bit in the 3rd against Tony Connolly, and in fact had to take a standing count, but still came through on points. Now, I wonder if he'll run out of steam in the 3rd here with George. Bit messy inside. So 1 round to go, and George, I would think, a little bit out in front, keeping control of the thing, but not finding it too easy. just 3 minutes effort now between George Gilbody and a 5th ABA title. George, clad in the white of England, against this 18-year-old from the Maindy Club at Newport, a young labourer for the South Wales Electricity Board. He excavates cables, I'm told. Trying very hard to dig a victory out of this contest. Gilbody has been beaten only once in the last 3 years, and that defeat came in the Olympic Games in Moscow last summer, and the man who beat him was the East German Novakovsky in the quarterfinals. And his previous defeat was in the Commonwealth Games of '78. And the two of them are getting a bit tired, I think. And Samuel's found him there. George has really got to keep it going. Samuel's gum shield threatening to pop out of his mouth at any moment, but George's left hand there helped it back in. Getting very messy. Samuels gets the blame. Samuel's work now is very wild and loose, and he's hanging all over George. And it's really up to George to do something about it. Tried to and got ticked off for it. Oh, what a good right hand. Well, if George wins this, and it looks as though he's going to, I don't think he'll remember it for the manner of winning, but simply for the fact that it will be his 5th title. And Gilbody finishing this, as you would expect, rather the better of the two. Experience being brought to bear now. The old clock in the head working, and George knowing now that a few points towards the end will just wrap the thing up. It's a brave effort by the young world champion, 18-year-old John Samuels, but it looks to me as though George has done quite enough scoring there to make his 5th title certain. But anyway, we'll have to leave that to the judges to confirm.
Ladies and gentlemen, by a unanimous decision, the winner and ABA champion at lightweight for 1981, Gilbody in the red corner.
All the judges vote for George Gilbody. The 26-year-old Lancastrian adds his name to the history books of boxing by winning a 5th ABA title, only the 3rd man since World War II to do that. A marvellous night for George, but I wonder if we shall see him back again next year.
So a first ABA title for Frankie Gavin there, but how many of these champions will stick around long enough in an effort to emulate George Gilbody, who in the 1970s and 80s won 5 ABA titles? Steve Bunce was his guide on this nostalgic trip down memory lane.
George Gilbody, a boy who comes down from the north of England with a tremendous reputation. George Gilbody on his way to a 2nd ABA title. Gilbody, of course, one of the most famous amateur boxers in Britain, attempting tonight to win this 5th ABA title.
I was in a gym at the age of 5. My dad took me to the Low House Club in St Helens. My dad boxed himself as an amateur and in the army. He got 3 pro fights. It's his favourite sport since he was 17, and that was it. Just went along with it. And you do something you feel you're good at, you have a go at it.
So from the age of 5 through 11, when you could have your first fight, didn't you get bored? Didn't you want to play football? Didn't you want to do other things that kids do?
Not particularly, and I was sheltered from football, roller skates, things like that. In case I damaged myself, I had an accident in the playground and cut my eye there. I had 2 stitches in it when I was 8. And my dad went up the wall, he said, your boxing career's finished. I was 8 years of age. Unbelievable.
Now, you won 5 ABA titles, 1 junior, 3 schools, and 5 senior ABA titles. Yep. You boxed in the Olympics, you boxed in Commonwealth Games, you boxed all over the world. Why didn't you turn pro?
I never got asked, but there were bad vibes in terms of, you know, perhaps the promoters using the boxers, and the only person who takes the stick, that's common sense. You don't need to be a rocket scientist. It's the boxers that are taking the stick, you know.
Then, of course, there was a night, June 1976, Wembley Stadium.
Yeah.
You climb in the ring with a 17-year-old kid you couldn't have known much about.
No.
Not a lot in the first 2 rounds. Then we go into the 3rd round, and that guy's name was?
That's it, Thomas Hearns, yeah.
Well, you can bet that when George Gilbody first set eyes on his opponent tonight, he got a bit of a shock because this man is so tall. He really is well over 6 feet tall, probably about 6'2" or 3", and he's the tallest lightweight I've ever seen. Tommy Hearns of the United States.
Every week for the 2 or 3 months leading up to this tournament, the Great Britain versus USA match, Howard Davis did this, did that, did the other, and he happened to beat Thomas Hearns in the fight-off, the American fight-off for Montreal Olympics. I trained for Davis to come over. As it happens, Hearns came over, but they were both the same size and the same style, and I felt that I performed pretty well.
Tommy Hearns of the United States, George Gilbody of Liverpool. Gilbody giving away inches, 6 inches it must be in height, and an awful lot of reach. It's very close, this one. Wasn't much between them on the first 2 rounds. Last 30 seconds.
And that's the one where I possibly didn't think you performed pretty well, because I didn't do my research and I maybe said what I shouldn't have said.
Yeah, slip of the tongue, Steve. No ill feeling whatsoever, just one of those things.
None intended.
Hopefully we put the story right.
And Gilbody now will be looking for a win.
We did lose that night, but it was wafer thin, as Harry Carpenter says in the commentary.
Yeah, 2 Yankee judges, 1 British judge, list of 2-1 split. Hearns reacts quite surprised when he gets the decision.
Hearns of America has got it.
Doesn't he lift you up at the end of the fight?
He does, twirls me around the ring, yeah.
So looking back over it, George, you go into a gym at 5, you end up boxing a legend, you beat a couple of other world champions, then you coach for a few years, now you're out of the game. Do you miss it?
Miss it badly. I'd be back in there tomorrow, seriously. I would really go back in the ring. As an amateur, of course, and the fact is, the reflexes must have gone by now. I'm sure they've gone, but I've not been back and tested them yet.
Remembering the outstanding amateur career of George Gilbody there. But Steve, how do you think he would have got on under this modern code of amateur boxing? 4 2-minute rounds, head guards, and perhaps most importantly, computerised scoring. How would George have got on?
You know how he'd have got on? He'd still be the champion now. He'd be defending his 4th Olympic title in a couple of years' time. Because that was George's game. Not getting hit, hitting you with a shot and getting away. And that's what the best Cubans do. And they're the best in the world. They've got the scoring system down. And George had it down for his 10-year reign. Because he was basically the boss at feather and lightweight for a 10-year period. He didn't win 10 ABA titles, only 5. But he was the boss, don't get me wrong. He would have loved this game. 4 rounds, God, George would have loved it. Absolutely suited him.
And how likely do you think we are to see the likes of a George Gilbody again? Somebody who's got the credentials to make a decent professional, but spends her entire career as an amateur.
Listen, unless we all start time travelling like Doctor Who, we're never going to see the likes of George Gilbody again. The best we can hope for is a guy maybe not winning the ABAs 1 year and staying on for the next year. But the days when guys like George fought for 10 years at domestic level, sadly, they're over.